What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to interview Ben, a backend engineer, and basically I just want to share with you guys Ben's story, because you know he has no computer science degree or any degree in computing, and yet he managed to become a software developer. So this to me just shows that, you know, anyone can do it, and you just have to believe in you, right? So if you put in your mind that you want to become an engineer, then you can do it, right? There's nothing to stop you. So nowadays, you know, a lot of people think that you need to have a degree in computer science, but in reality you do not need to have a computer science degree. So Ben is a very good example, because you know, I remember the day that he started, you know, when he joined the company, and just to see like his progress, right? His progress is become a long way, and he's very clever on what he does, and I really admire him. That's why I want to share with you Ben's story. So let me actually go and grab him, and let's go and have a chat. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because that way I can keep on, you know, recording videos like this that will help you to become an engineer, right? So I know there are a lot of you guys from all around the world messaging me, asking questions on you know, different topics and aspects of being an engineer, and you know, the reason why I'm doing this is to help you to become an engineer. Really, that's the main goal. So yeah, let me go ahead and grab Ben. What have you, bro?
Hey, Nelson. What's going on?
Are you ready?
Yes, should we do this?
Yes, come. There we go. There we go. Cool, man. So thanks for doing this again.
Thanks, Nelson. Thanks for having me over.
So guys, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. So basically I just wanted to give you guys some inspiration really on how we became a software engineer, right? Because he's a very good example. He has no degree whatsoever, and
I don't have a degree.
He hasn't got a degree, but still he managed to become a software engineer. I think it's really impressive, unlike myself.
What degree do you have?
I've got a computer science degree.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But yeah, still we have the same job, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I just want to share with my fans and the world, you know, that it's possible nowadays to become a software engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, so just tell us, you know, what you do.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Ben Pourian. So I work here as a software engineer at Starling, and been over here for a year and 5 months, I think, or a bit slightly more than that. On a day-to-day basis, we come in every morning. Like most places, we have a stand-up. We talk about the things that we've done yesterday, and talk about any challenges we've had. We've got a really good team that are working in here at Starling. There's, I think, 10 of us, or slightly more. But everyone's so supportive and experienced, which is really helpful, especially for someone who is still learning. I mean, there's always room to learn, but someone like me who's a junior. And then you just get on with your day.
You're not a junior. you're not a junior developer.
I think it's good to be humble in terms of your...
I don't see you as a junior developer. Let me just tell you that, okay?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I think I always like to see myself as a junior developer.
Yeah.
Because that makes you be more humble and always open to new ideas, and you never reject people's opinions, because there's so much to learn. There's always room to learn.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so I look at code every day, and I write code, and I debug things. But I think something that probably doesn't get mentioned is the communication that we have with all these other departments or any organization that we work in. Is that you don't just sit there, put your headphones on and code all day. You actually go and talk to people, and make sure that you get a good understanding of what the issues they have or the problems they have is. So yeah, that's what I do.
Wow. Are you full stack?
I am a full stack developer. I mean, you're expected to be a full stack developer, yes, darling, because I mean, you've moved away to over to infra, and you're doing a lot of infrastructure stuff. But you're expected to come not only just do Java development, JavaScript, front end, back end, deploying services using whatever technology that we have. Currently, we're obviously using AWS and Terraform. But yeah, so full stack developer.
Full stack. Well done, man. Well done. Java or JavaScript?
So I primarily code in Java.
What do you prefer, Java or JavaScript?
So I think they both have their own advantages. The way my mind works, I like Java, the way it's structured. JavaScript is quite nice to use too if you want to get up and go. I mean, our front end is mainly JavaScript, Redux, and it works fine, and I write code in JavaScript for the front end stuff. But it's nice because you can pick up a ticket or a project and you can complete the whole end-to-end yourself.
Exactly.
And get such a great amount of knowledge.
You don't have to wait for front-end developers to build this and then
miscommunication. So yeah,
it's amazing.
I mean, it won't look pretty necessarily, but
you can do both. Cool, man. So yeah, man. So what's really interesting to me is that you have no computer science degree. What degree do you have?
So I don't actually have a degree.
Wow.
So I left college when I was 16, 17. Decided that I wanted to start working. I didn't want to go to university for the sake of going to university. Obviously, there was always objections from my family, and they were worried I was never going to get a proper job. But I didn't let that hold me back. I think there were times where I felt that perhaps I'm being judged or I'm being excluded because I don't have a degree. And that's fine, you come across those challenges, but it also highlights that maybe those places are not the right place for you because they still have a very backward mindset and a different way of thinking about how to assess quality and talent. But yeah, no degree at all.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I still remember like when I dropped out of college, like I had no idea on what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And going to college and then going to university was a struggle for me.
Yeah.
But for you, like seeing that you had no degree and yet you still managed to pick all of these computer science subject not subjects but like topics. And,
understanding
of. It's amazing, man.
So yeah, I mean it wasn't easy at all. I think when I guess how I got into development was quite by chance. I wanted to. I wasn't fulfilled or wasn't happy in what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was working in financial services, nothing complicated. So it was just very, sales or compliance, and I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And somebody gave me a whole bunch of books that they'd studied, and this was a C# developer guy. So I put them in a cupboard, but sometime later I was just bored. I wanted to get into development. I wanted to find out what it was about, and I looked at some of these books and I was like, I have no idea what any of this means.
Yeah.
So I went online and tried to find free, I think it was a Microsoft website that did these free courses on C#. So I started writing, Hello World apps.
Yeah.
To me, Hello World apps were quite complicated back then, But I started off there, and that was it. Like, I mean, I was like, I can do this, and I started buying books and making little terminal applications.
Yeah.
The ones that you say it listens to the input, and then you have a few if statements, which you then say if it's this, do this. If it's And I would wake up in the morning at I think at 5:30 in the morning before going to work every day.
5 in the morning?
Yeah, just to give myself an hour and a half of studying. or teaching myself.
Yeah.
And then I would take my laptop in. And then it got to a point where I was like, actually, I really enjoy this. I really enjoy the problem solving aspect of it. So I'd quite like to get into this. And and that was it.
Well done. We've got someone that wants to be on the video. You can come in. Come and say hi to my fans.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Oh my god, I can see myself. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe and click the bell icon for Amigoscode. And share the videos.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like?
No, that's it. You can go.
Okay,
Bye.
Please make sure I don't look fat and you take
No, you look good. Don't worry. Thank you. I mean, like you're saying, 5 o'clock every day.
So I used to wake up at 5 in the morning, and I don't know, it just sparked an interest for me, and it was it sort of almost gave me a motivation to look forward to, like, sort of getting up out of bed and then going to work and then finding that time in lunchtime sitting in this cubicle writing these programs. I remember where I was mucking around with these C# command line programs. I built this little game, and I went over to one of my friends, and this was like 3 years ago maybe. So I said, oh yeah, have a look at this game I built. I was quite excited. I built this thing that actually responded to some commands, and in this black screen, like nobody, like, you just typing words. That's not fun, but for me it was quite intriguing. Yeah. And he said, what is this crap? And I was like, oh, come on. but yeah, like, I persisted, and eventually I ended up actually getting a job as a software engineer. Obviously there's more to it, but
but how, so you were studying programming, but then what decided that you wanted to become a software engineer, right?
So I wasn't studying programming per se, but it was I was trying to find out more about it, because I mean, I think there's a lot of people probably out there who will like relate to this. Mm-hmm. You go on Google and you say, I think this is probably that everybody at some point will type this when they don't know anything about programming. Yeah. What is the best programming language to learn? Or what is the most earned programming language? Like, that's the things. That just confuses you, because, like, I didn't even know what was the difference between Java or JavaScript or C#.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this. I didn't know what object-oriented programming was. I didn't know what functional programming was. And there's such a, like, it's such a huge field, and not having people around you to answer those questions, or somebody and you know what programmers are like. Even if you find one or two, they have such strong opinion on things that you're like,
totally agree.
Who do you listen to? So I carried down the path of, like, teaching myself to a point where I was confident that this is something that I really wanted to do, and I decided to quit my job to teach myself. And I tried to go online, speak to recruiters and find junior positions, because that's what you do. Like, you try to get an entry level job, but the requirements for entry level jobs were actually most of them, 90% of them, which I looked at, were at the time required a degree and experience. And then they also paid you peanuts. Like, they paid you enough money to perhaps travel in, which was quite unfair, I think. I have strong views on that. And then so I carried this on for a good few months, but it was tough, man. I obviously couldn't do it by myself.
Wow. So obviously you've done a boot camp. So what was the reason behind you doing the actual boot camp? Did you think that it was something that would help you to get the job, or because you didn't have a degree, that's why you did it, right? Yeah. So I remember I quit my job. I think it was April or May 2017. Yeah. With the notion to try to teach myself, and I quickly realized that actually I can't do this by myself. And I'd booked this trip to go away sailing for a week, because I really enjoy sailing. So I was trying to teach myself, learn how to sail. And I went on this trip for 1 week, and on this trip I met this lady who we got to know each other. We were talking about what I was doing, and I said, I'm trying to teach myself to code.
and luckily she'd said that her daughter had been just doing the same. So she'd had a degree in physics.
Wow.
From Cambridge or somewhere, I think. And she didn't know what she wanted to do, and she decided to change jobs, and she went through to this boot camp, which I'd actually, funny enough, had heard of, but because of the amount of money they were charging, I was hesitant to actually commit myself, because I'd quit my job at this point, and I was like, that's a lot of money I've got to pay for like 3-4 months of something. That's almost like how much you pay for a year's...
It's nine
probably, yeah. And but after the trip, I spoke to this lady's daughter who'd done this bootcamp, and that convinced me that it's probably the right thing to do. And I mean, I can tell you what obviously we discussed and what was the point.
Yeah.
I guess for me, like the biggest worry was, well, am I going to get a job at the end of this? And I think from the impression that I got from the conversation that I had with this girl is that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard.
I mean, nothing is easy in this life, right?
And you know, the jobs are not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. And you know, I guess I was lucky that I by that point I'd already been trying to teach myself for a good few months. I already knew that I had the motivation and the drive and the consistency to do it. And you know, I really wanted it badly, and I wasn't going to just throw my money away. And a lot of people do that, and I feel bad for them because they fall into this trap of, you know, software engineering could come across as a trendy thing to do now, right? You see a lot of these fancy videos, and you have such a fancy life working for Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It's not. It's hard. It's challenging. And I think if you don't have the drive or the characteristics, then you will lose focus and you will lose interest in the job very quickly. So I knew it was going to be a challenge, and I knew that I'd already tried to teach myself. But the good point was that, you know, by going through this bootcamp, I was almost giving myself a platform to show myself off to other potential employers, where they would have potentially dismissed me if I'd gone to them directly.
Exactly. Yeah.
But funny enough, I actually didn't end up getting a job through the bootcamp anymore. I found both my jobs, previous one to Starling and Starling directly myself.
Wow,
it's just through my sheer motivation and you know, hunger to.
This is what I tell to my subscribers, like, you know, you just have to have the passion and the drive, right? So there's no point for you learning how to code if you don't have projects to show, right? Or, you know, if you want to become a software engineer, but then you kind of just doing it just for the sake of money, right? Because you think like, you know, programmers, you know, they get a lot of money and that's it, right? So if that's what you want, that's not going to take you anywhere, right?
No.
You just have to have the passion, the drive, and the show that you really want it. And I think that will take you a long way.
I think without those things, you'll give up very easily, because it's a type of job that could get you could feel very frustrated and very easily. Because definitely. You know what I mean when I say you're stuck on something. You could be stuck on something for a couple of days, because like you're going through this complicated code and you're looking at each line, and it's not like it's a pretty thing to look at. It's like just a black screen and some scribbles. If to people it would be just nothing, right? And you're looking through all these lines of code, and you know, some people with more experience could quickly go through it, but let's say you're working your way up, and the more experience you get, those initial few steps are really difficult. And I think if you don't have the passion or the drive to see yourself through those few months or even the first year, then you'll probably give up very easily. And I know a lot of people have gone to boot camps and spent a lot of money and they've quit. Actually, I've known 2 people quit through the boot camp because they just don't have the motivation. But yeah,
no pain, no gain, man. That's the deal, man. So yeah, man. So do you enjoy what do you do after these years?
So it's not been years. It's been only a couple of years.
Well, I mean,
2 years.
I
think I'd like to say like so when I left the bootcamp, I was hoping that they would support me in finding a job, which they did. But I guess you know, everybody out of the 29 or 26 people, everybody's fighting for the same jobs, and I wasn't lucky enough to get through to any of those jobs, or perhaps I was very picky about who I wanted to work for.
Yeah, yeah.
So I ended up working for a consultancy. Actually, they approached me on LinkedIn, and they knew I was looking for a job. I was a junior, so they took me on. It was really cool. Spent 6-7 months moving around a lot of big companies in the city of in London, which gave me a quick exposure to a lot of different tech stacks. I worked for a telecommunications company. I worked on a cryptocurrency project for a short period of time. So for me, it was really amazing because it allowed me to make a decision as to which direction I wanted to go in.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't want to be stay in a consultancy. So then I decided to, I wanted to focus on a particular stack. So like Java, specifically Java, and be able to learn that in a way, or learn the fundamentals of programming and how you go about solving problems, and see, like, almost build a project and see it grow, because I felt that would give me more experience than actually moving around. And then I obviously started applying for jobs because I reached a point where I knew that I didn't want to stay there anymore, and I wanted to focus on a particular product. And I'd known of Starlink, so I applied to Starlink. I cancelled 2 or 3 of my interviews with other consultancies because I'd made the decision at that point is it's either going to be Starlink or nothing, or I'm going to if I don't get through it, then I'll go apply somewhere else. I'll try to find something else. Yeah. So I worked tirelessly trying to get the tech test through. I had a telephone interview first. I was so adamant like that I wanted this job that I said, can I do a face-to-face first? So I when I met the guy, one of the engineers here, in a cafe, instead of having a phone interview, we had a 20 minutes, half an hour chat. Really? Yeah, and he gave me the tech test, and then I did a tech test, and I kept doing pull requests on the tech test. Pull request on the tech test, trying to refactor it, because I said, like, I didn't have time to finish it, but this is what I found out. This is my. So I put everything in it. I mean, I was. I think I did. Like, I spent like a whole week just preparing for this, and then when it came to the final interview, I had third interview. It was a 2-hour interview by 2 of the senior developers, and they were really kind to me. But it was an hour and a half. I talked a lot, and I was so. I put so much effort into this, and then they sort of went out, and then in came one of the HR girls, and one of I think CTO. I was like, okay, what is going on here? And they talked to me a bit more, and they started talking about salaries, and then they offered me a job then, and then I was like, right there and then, in the third interview.
No way.
Yeah, the third interview. Yeah. What? So I was so emotional because I think I even broke out in tears because, like, you're working so hard. Wow, I've been working since 2017 to get to this point, and Starlink meant so much to me in terms of what they gave me, the opportunities I could learn, the opportunity to learn, and being in this environment, and so yeah.
Wow, I didn't know the whole story, man.
Yeah, it's quite emotional period, and I've been here since ever since. Yeah.
Wow.
So yes, I do enjoy it, and
Well, I can tell you do enjoy it, man. So yeah, I think let's just wrap it up. What advice would you give to someone that's learning programming or more to junior developers? That want to find a job, what would you tell them?
So I think maybe it can be broken down into the category of people like yourself who've been to university and done a computer science. Yeah. And I think you know that already, right? You know that's what you enjoy, and you're lucky to establish it.
I went to computer science, but I had no idea what I was doing. Okay. So it was like. Really tough.
Yeah. See, part of me envies people who know or knew what they wanted to do. Yeah. At that age. Yeah. I mean, I sort of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know that this was going to be the thing for me. So I would say if you're already doing your computer science degree and you're in the course, what they teach you at university. Is useful, but it may not apply to what you do in the real world. So if you're thinking of doing your masters, maybe think about it. What is the reason behind it? What could you gain from doing that? Yeah. because there's so much, you learn so much more by being in the working environment. And the thing that, you know, there are things that I wish I'd knew, like the algorithm stuff, but that doesn't stop me from learning them myself. So I know they spend a lot of time on that in universities, but you know, I guess maybe I'm not the best person to give advice on. Maybe you can have a bit more of an input, but you can learn all of that. I mean, we live in a day and age where everything you want is available to you. So if you want to learn,
especially on YouTube,
exactly. It's thanks to people like you. So if you want to learn, there's a ton of information out there. So and I worked with, like, when I was at consultancy, I was sitting with this guy. So there's this huge insurance company in the city. I was working on as part of the consultancy, and there was this 20-year-old that sat next to me, and this guy was hired to do their penetration testing for their systems. This 19-year-old doing penetration testing for £1 billion a year like a company. So you can imagine, like, you know, this guy had a passion, and from a very young age he knew what to do. He didn't need to go to university. Wow. The things that he knew, the lecturers at university wanted to know. So I'd say for those people, like, if you know what you're doing, then you know that's amazing. And I think you've just got to look at the job specs, look online, look at the software developers like yourself who talk about coding practices, or give you an idea of what it's like to work in a development environment, because that will slightly prepare you for what you could potentially expect in real life as a software engineer. Yeah. And for people who have not taken the conventional route, like myself, I'd say don't do it because you see someone doing it and it looks exciting. Don't do it because on the surface it looks cool. You get a MacBook, or you walk around in your slippers, or like, you know, don't do it with
flip-flops. Like,
I don't have flip-flops on today. But do it because you've done the hard bit of trying to understand it yourself. I think that would be a good test. I mean, for me, that was a test. Because I was so worried investing all that money in going to a bootcamp that for me, I'd already done that self-evaluation by trying to teach myself. Because it's not easy trying to teach yourself. It's such a mindful. Just getting your system set up, trying to code, to get it to return. That all takes time. And just being able to figure that out by reading Stack Overflow or Google it on Google, that already shows you that you have those basic understandings or intuition to become a developer, because that's what it is, right? Apart from, like, you know, we don't want to judge each other, but apart from the different ways we learn, it's just the fact that you will continue down the path of trying to solve a problem and you don't give up.
Exactly.
And I think that's probably like the best advice I can give to people like who are in my position. And just try to teach yourself and see what you feel like. See if you've got the patience. If you do, and you can see yourself doing it every day, then just follow the rest of his advice, and then maybe I'll talk more about the bootcamp experience and so on.
We should definitely talk about. Definitely, let's talk about whether it's worth it or not. But man. So, guys, thank you. Actually, thank you first.
Thanks for giving me an opportunity.
Guys, you know, this channel is more about giving you guys, you know, inspiration and give you like a real insight of what it's like and how you can become a software engineer, right? So when I started myself, I didn't have someone like myself, obviously, that could actually, you know, explain me and, you know, guide me throughout the way, right? So, and that's what I want to give to you and for the whole of this channel, is to help you guys and give you real life examples that will help you to become a software engineer. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel to get more videos like this. And do you want to say anything else?
Yeah, thanks for listening. Sorry if I rambled on, but good luck.
True story, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Opportunity.